Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So sorry about the technical issue that we've been having this afternoon. I do sincerely apologize. I hope you can hear me now. We've been talking about surrogacy. Okay, we've been talking about surrogacy, the different types of surrogacy, and also looking at the reasons why the African community are not using this method of having children. Okay, so we're looking at why they are not having children, with this type of method of giving birth, and why a lot are not actually going into it, adopting that process, or even looking into that process in the first place. Just before I carry on, I just want to show you a video that will just enlighten us a little bit about what surrogacy is all about. And when we come back, I'm going to look at the types of surrogacy that we have, and also I'm going to look at why what are the benefits of using this type of method to have your own child. Okay, so I'll play that video in a few minutes.
Carrying someone else's child, I think from the beginning, it's not your child. And there's so much love and it's an amazing thing. But then the other side has been one of a lot of guilt and fear. I know she would love to have that feeling of giving birth and being pregnant. And I feel guilty in some ways that I can't have Amy throughout the birth, the whole time, but I can't do everything. I think at some point you have to do what's best for you.
How do you feel about having a baby on a Friday?
I'm a nervous wreck. I'm so anxious. I guess it's just a bit of not jealousy. I guess it's just a bit of I wish that I knew what that felt like.
Feels like a head.
You can't foresee all of the pieces of it to be a surrogate, what that really meant at the time. I think it's a good thing we didn't think about it too much.
So are you disappointed that I don't want you in the room the whole time?
I mean, I don't want to be further than outside the door. I can't imagine that I'm going to feel too much loss after the child, because you never allow yourself to be so emotionally attached. Just it's not your child. It has been amazing, but it's been really very confronting and very hard. She wants to be separated from the baby. She's very wary of bonding with the child. I feel like the baby's going to sort of respond more to Alex. I just get worried the first time that I hold her that she's going to think, who the hell are you,
It was probably nothing like I thought it would be, because I didn't think I wanted Amy and Anatole in the room. I didn't think I'd wanted to be with the baby. But it wasn't how it all happened.
As soon as I held that baby, I just knew she was my baby. It was just like a chemical reaction.
So she's never been mine, but I miss her.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me again here on Inspiring Time with Juliet. The video that you've just watched is about two sisters. One of them couldn't have a child of their own because of some medical problems, some kind of difficulty with giving birth. So she turned to her sister, and her sister agreed to carry her child for 9 months. Okay, and at the end of that period, she handed over the child to her sister. Okay, and you can see the whole emotion that is going on around there. You can see that as soon as she had the child in her hand, the sister said that she felt, that this was her own child. Now, what is surrogacy? It is a method whereby someone else carries a child for another person or a couple. Okay, so it can be a traditional way of carrying the child, a traditional surrogacy, or it could be a gestational surrogacy. For it to be a traditional one is a straightforward one, what we call the genetic and the partial, partial surrogacy, in the sense that is the woman's egg and being inseminated with another person's sperm. And there is an agreement to that. Everyone is kind of knows that this is what we're doing. It's going to be a surrogacy, and at the end of a period time, the baby is handed over to the other couple or to the other person. So this is what surrogacy means. Before its gestational surrogacy to take place, it means that the woman has nothing to do with the pregnancy except carrying the child, really. It's another person's egg that is being used and another person's sperm that is being used. And that is called gestational. She has to carry it. It could be through IVF, where an embryo is being fertilized and then, implanted in her own womb. And she carries this pregnancy to the end and hand over the child to another person or couple, as the case may be. There are things that could go wrong, during surrogacy, which I do understand that. But my issue today is, why is it that surrogacy is not rampant, is not being taken up within the African community? Is it because of our values, our, the way we think, our religion? Is it cultural? Is it because of the way we're, brought up? Is it, people see it as an abomination? Is it the right path? Or is it an abomination? So I can see that Selimo has joined us. Thank you, Selimo, for joining us. Good morning, Gus. It is morning there in the United States. It's afternoon here in England. Thank you for joining us, Gus. And Reverend Ebenezer, thank you for also joining us this afternoon. Yes, what is surrogacy? And, why is it not being taken up within the African community? A woman can choose to have a child through surrogacy if the woman is not able to give birth to a child on her own. Well, if there are risks, if she's carrying this baby, it could be a risk to herself or a risk to the child, during birth. So the woman would turn to a surrogate to help her give birth to a child. It is different from adoption. It's different from fostering. Okay, so this is purely a method where the sperm or the egg is probably different, and the woman has to have this inseminated inside her womb, and she has to carry this baby up to the end of term, 9 months, or as the case may be, and then give birth and hand over this child to the couple that she's helping out. Now, there are emotional satisfaction. There are some kind of, people do it because they like helping other people. People do it also because they're able to do it and they like to see other people, happy. And they love the feeling of handing over the child to another as a gift, to them. But what do you think? Why do we from the African community do not take up surrogacy? Is it because we don't, kind of understand how it works? Or we are afraid that this child is not going to be called our own when it goes through surrogacy? Gus, I can see there, he says, I think it's lack of knowledge and education. Oh, yes, obviously, because people are probably not aware of this method. They don't really know how it all works out. And, it could be because of fear. It could be because, hello, Selimo, thank you so much for joining me. It could be because, they're not quite educated about the process, about the method, about what it's all about, really. And maybe they don't think that they are free enough, confident enough to be a surrogate for somebody else. So surrogacy, as far as I'm concerned, should be taken up within the African community. This is my own opinion. If a woman finds it difficult to give birth to a child themselves, if she finds it difficult, she has a medical problem, a genuine medical problem that prevents her from having a child, by herself, then, this woman should be thinking of surrogacy, to have, should be thinking about getting somebody else to help her carry this child through the 9 months period in her womb, and then, the person handing over the baby to her. there are so many issues surrounding surrogacy. You know, 'cause there are laws, and these laws varies between country to country, even within the countries as well. It varies from state to state. So really, people should be more aware of these laws so that when they go into this type of method, you know, they know what they are getting themselves into, and also how it all works. It could be straightforward, and obviously, in anything that we do, things can also go wrong. So, what can go wrong? I mean, what can go wrong during surrogacy? Things like when the child is born and they are deformed, or you know, things didn't quite go well, and the child is not perfect, is not 100%. Then the person that that's have paid for the child to be carried, by the surrogate, might decide not to have the baby. It has happened in Australia where a woman had a baby, and the other couple decided not to take the child because the child had Down syndrome. There are things that can go wrong as well. At the end of the pregnancy and the birth, the lady might not want to hand over the child to the parent. Okay, so those are the things that can go wrong. Okay, there are emotions, psychological trauma involved. There are so many issues that are involved in handing over a baby to another couple. So, those are the things that could really go wrong. So, what do you think about surrogacy? Okay, what do you think about surrogacy? As far as I'm concerned, I think it should be taken up. It happened even in the Bible. If you look at Genesis 30, the Leah and Rachel couldn't have children. There was a lot of curse that was going on around there. There is barrenness. There is the spirit of singleness that is going on even within that family, and most of them couldn't have children. And what did they do? They have to ask their maids to have children on their behalf. So surrogacy even started well in the Old Testament. So I don't know what you think. Even Abraham and Sarah asked her servants to have the child with Abraham. So those are surrogates. I just want to say that as far as I'm concerned, coming from the African community, I feel that people should be looking into that method of having children of their own instead of remaining barren, instead of maybe adoption. But if you are able to adopt, that's still fine. I'll be covering that that topic in our next show. But today I'm looking at surrogacy. What do you feel about surrogacy? Blessings to you, Ditola Aduke. Thank you for joining us today. So surrogacy, is it something that should be taken up within the African community? And why is it that we are not, taking it up within the African community? Is it because of fear? Because we feel it is an abomination for someone else to have your child for you? But do we have any basis for that? Is it because of our moral take? Is it because of the way your mindset? Or do you have any reason? Do you have any concrete reason of rejecting that type or method of having your own child? I'm going to take a little break now, and when we come back, we will just continue on this topic, and I'll be rounding up as well. I'm sorry we didn't, start on time because of some technical issues. I'll be back in few seconds, actually, few seconds.
Alhamdulillah, 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 Rabbil Alamin. Tujuan nafkah akan mengikuti ada selain jalan di tepi berbuat kata-kata sidang pengurusan sesuai dengan manual Islam. Ini cuma dalam minggu Sunday, 10th of December, 2017. Sunday, 10th of December, 2017. Ini adalah mereka semua. Dengan spesial ini, penduduk meminta Association Melon House. Ini penduduk meminta and for the team 7DS. Let's see, penduduk Community Association Melon House. Ini penduduk meminta and for the team 7DS. Àti àkókò yìí àwọn bàbá wa, Alhaji Abdulateef Adéwálé Olúṣùpá, ẹnjìnìá Kàmíù Lọ́wọ́ Bọ́láyà, Alhaji Yunus Ọlálẹ́kùn Sáyé àti ṣèyí ìlú oníkàbọ̀ sí káàbọ̀ sí ayẹyẹ yìí ìfẹ́ kí ni dress code aṣọ olóye káwọ̀ wá sí ayẹyẹ yìí white and blue ní white and blue ní kẹ́rẹ̀ wá fún àlàyé kíkún ẹ kàn sí wa lórí 07904081667 àti 0794-763-6061 lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí 070-408-1667 àti 0794763-6061 àbíkẹ́ kàn sí wa lórí Facebook NASFAT Noting Peace NASFAT Noting Peace NASFAT Noting Peace ní lórí Facebook Sheikh Khalid Badmus ní Imam Host of the Day. a fi àkókò yìí dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run Tààlà àti pàápàá gbàdúrà fún gbogbo àwọn new officials tí a máa ṣe ìyànjú oyà mọ́rí o kí alàtà alágbà ní ìgbàgbà fún yín lákòótán ẹ̀dá pẹ̀lú wa ní ọjọ́jọ́ Sunday ìyẹn fún àdúrà ní Coffee Community Center 60 Galloway Coffee Hall 18 MK6 5EG fún àdúrà ní ọjọ́jọ́ Sunday ní gbàgbé Coffee Community Center 60 Galloway Coffee Hall 18 MK6 5EG láti agogo mọ́kànlá àárọ̀ títí di aago méjì àbọ̀sán ẹ̀ má gbàgbé ìbẹ́ta ní onígbọ̀wọ́ ìkéde yìí àríwá àti ojú ọlọ́pàá dáná ẹ̀ máa jẹ́ ìlú gbogbo ní pátá lápè àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀kọ́
and why is it that some they do not, kind of use this method of having children at all? They don't even look into it. They don't even explore it at all. Why is that? Because it says this should be an open dialogue among couples that are not able to conceive. It should be, really, and there are many benefits to surrogacy. The obvious is to parent a child. The other that women should appreciate is the involvement of choosing another woman to carry the child, obviously, because someone else should be carrying the child. It doesn't take away the emotional bonding. It doesn't take away the attachment that you have with the child as well, because obviously you are working with the surrogate right from the start to the very end. Yes, Gisela says, because our mentality won't allow us. Apparently, yes, because the people from the African community have a different mentality. They don't, which kind of prevents us from taking up surrogacy, because of the way we've been taught, the way we are so used to things being done. Because people should have been told that they have to have the child naturally. But surrogacy is a method, and it is quite legal. If you follow the policies as well, just avoid commercial surrogacy, but stick with the private surrogacy where it is the woman and the person that is paying. Okay, if you follow that method, every country has got different laws and policies that guide surrogacy. So please try and make sure that if you're going to use this method, that you familiarize yourself with them before you go into it, so that you don't run into problems. Now, what can go wrong? Yes, there are advantages. Yes, there are benefits of having surrogacy. There are some times as well when things can go wrong. Okay, so when things go wrong, what do? This is applicable to the surrogate and even the people that are paying to have a surrogate have their baby for them. So what could go wrong? So the baby might not be 100%. Okay, I have a case in Australia it was actually quite, it went worldwide. A Philippine lady, a 21-year-old girl, was pregnant, and during the pregnancy, she had twins. One had Down syndrome, and the other one was a normal, perfect child. So what did these parents, they're from Australia, what did they do? They came all the way down to Philippines, took the perfect child away from the mother, and left the imperfect, per se, child, the Down syndrome child, with this girl that was only doing this to help the couple out. So she's left with this child, even as we speak now. She's looking after this child by herself. So things like that can go wrong. What do you do? So you have to think about it and make sure that you put everything into perspective as well. So I think it's lack of knowledge and education. Yes, it is. People needs to be educated regarding surrogacy, and also people need to kind of make sure that they are aware that things can go wrong. The other person might not want to release the child afterwards, after the birth, because of the emotional or attachment to the baby. So what do you do in that case? So that means that before you go into that process, make sure that you get everything right. Get all your law right, or your policies right, and have everything all written down, and everyone knows what they're doing, so that if anything goes wrong, you know how to go about it as well. Like I said, in United States, it's fine. They do recognize that, but it depends on the states. Okay, in some of the states recognize that a woman can have or can donate her own, can use her own egg, and have an artificial or natural insemination with somebody else, and that child remains biological, a very good biological child for the mother. The mother has got right over the child, but when it comes to gestational, no, the mother does not have any legal right to the child. Once the child is born, it's handed over to the other parents, and the parents or the new parents takes over the legal, aspect of things. So really, what is surrogacy? Why is it that we are not taking it up? I feel that we, from the African community, should be taking it up and should be looking into this method, and should you not be able to have, child of your own? Do you have any problems with, medical problems that could prevent you from having one? So this could be a method that could be, suitable for you. I would say don't rule anything out. Make sure that you research and you get your facts right, and go for it. And for those that are watching right now that have any spirit of singleness, barrenness spirit, I break it right now, even in your life, in the name of Jesus. And I set you free. And whoever that the Lord sends free is free indeed. And I'm going to be closing right now because coming to the end of the show. And I just want to say thank you to all the people that just joined us, people that have joined me today. And sorry, we kind of had some issues with audio initially, but it's all sorted out now. Next week, I'm going to touch base on surrogacy again, and I'm going to look into adoption, and then in the following week we look at fostering. So tune in, invite people that have issues with this, that will be benefit from this topic, so that we can just explore it all together. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining me here on Inspiring Time with Juliet on voiceafrica.com. Thank you. Have a blessed day, and I hope you are blessed for the rest of the day today. Thank you. Bye bye.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Ìjọ NAFDAC ẹ̀ka tí wọ́n ti pín lábẹ́ àsíá UK àti Ireland ti tẹ́tẹ́tẹ́tẹ́ gbogbo ènìyàn pátápátá sí brand inauguration àti swearing in àwọn new officials. Eléyìí tí ó máa wáyé ní ọjọ́ Sunday 10th of December 2017. Sunday 10th of December 2017 ní agogo mẹ́ta ọ̀sán. Níbo ni a ti fẹ́ ṣe ayẹyẹ yìí? Ponibro Community Association Neighborhood House, ìyẹn ní Ponibro Milton Keynes, NA14 7DX. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí Ponibro Community Association Neighborhood House, ìyẹn ní Ponibro Milton Keynes, MK14 7DX. À ń fi àkókò yìí kí àwọn bàbá wa Alhaji Abdulateef Adéwálé Ọlásùpọ̀, Engineer Kamiu Yomi Bọ́láyọ̀, Alhaji Yinu Badmus Ọlálékan Saliu àti Sheikh Mahmood oníkẹ́ abdulaziz káàbọ̀ sí ayẹyẹ yìí. Ǹjẹ́ kí ni dress code aṣọ wo ló yẹ káwọ̀ wá sí ayẹyẹ yìí? White and blue ni o, white and blue ní kẹ́ ẹ wọ̀ wá. Fún àlàyé kíkún ẹ kàn sí wa lórí 07904081667 àti 0794-763-6061 lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí 0790-408-1667 àti 0794-763-6061 àbíkẹ́ kàn sí wa lórí Facebook NASFAT Meeting Kings NASFAT Meeting Kings NASFAT Meeting Kings ní lórí Facebook. Sheikh Khalid Badmus ní Imam host of the day. A fi àkókò yìí dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run Ọba Tàálà àti pàápàá gba àdúrà fún gbogbo àwọn new officials tí a máa swear in ní ọjọ́ ayẹyẹ yìí pé ó yà mọ́rí o kí Allah Tàálà gbà ní ìgbàdá fún yín. Lákòótán ẹ̀dá àkùtàn wa ní ọjọ́jọ́ Sunday ìyẹn fún àdúrà ní Coffee Hall Community Center 60 Garaways Coffee Hall Milton Keynes MK6 5EG. Fún àdúrà ní ọjọ́jọ́ Sunday ẹ má gbàgbé Coffee Hall Community Center 60 Garaways Coffee Hall Milton Keynes MK6 5EG láti agogo mọ́kànlá àárọ̀ títí di aago méjì àbọ̀ ọ̀sán. Ẹ má gbàgbé ìjẹta ni onígbọ̀wọ́ ìkéde yìí àrímọ́ àti ìdúró nǹkẹ́ ọlọ́fin jáná ìyẹn màmá jìbìrì mi gbogbo yín pátá la pè a ó máa retí.
What?